The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We got 24 minutes to go until the start of trading, and when you got markets basically just chopping around where we were at the lows of yesterday afternoon. We're trading right now negative by 8 points in the S&P futures, make it 9 to the negative side at 57.50. That's down about 0.2%. NASDAQ 100, as you see, quite the slide yesterday. News breaks that Iran is going to send missiles into Israel. Now the stories, of course, thankfully, many of those missiles shot down. I was reading one report today talking about one person dead in the West Bank. 200 missiles could have been a lot worse, even with the loss of life. Now the conversation goes to the U.S., says that Iran is going to pay. Tensions ratcheting up. You slide to negative prices early yesterday, and we're just chopping around at that level right now. Just under 20,000 in the NASDAQ 100 futures, trading off 6 points at 19,968. You got the Dow off 32 points, 42,447 in the Russell. Russell off by 0.5%. You see, actually makes it below the lows of yesterday, and we're just basically at the lows of yesterday. Bitcoin down $800 at 61,175. Crude, one of the stories of the day. Unfortunately, Teddy Kegstad had some stuff going on today. Can't make it this morning. We're going to try and get him on again. Maybe even later this week, reschedule. We'll talk to him as we do always next Wednesday. But yeah, how about it, right? So much for $66 on crude. We're trading at $71.96. Now, Middle East tensions ratcheting up, okay? But you're going to talk about potentially $50 crude from the Saudis as they are going to open the spigot. So we'll talk about that. But, you know, I've talked about that conversation with crude, right? You're sitting in the grocery store. I'm sitting in Publix. Impulse items, 20-ounce bottle of soda is like $2.59 now, $2.69, almost the same price as 1 gallon of gasoline right outside in the 7-Eleven parking lot. Not sure that those two should be the same exact price point. Which one's going to move? I do not see soda becoming less expensive, as in I don't see the price of a 20-ounce bottle of Diet Coca-Cola dropping at Publix. So maybe you see the price of crude rising. In the longer term, you probably do. But right now, we're at that critical level of $70. We're getting a little bit of a lift right now. We're at $71.95. And let's jump over to that story. Why not? Talking about $50. That's not the one. We got a bunch of crude oil stories up here. Where are we? Come on. There we go. Yeah, there it is. $50 oil. Well, that might not be the case with war in the Middle East potentially breaking out, but nonetheless, you got the Saudi minister talking about, listen, $50 oil is in play as OPEC Plus members float production curbs. They called out members for overproducing in what was seen as a veiled threat of a price war. Ooh, watch out, baby. Yeah. They're set to discuss whether to ease production curbs in December at a scheduled online gathering. Wednesday is what they talked about. Yeah, you got the Middle East out there. Geopolitical tensions, to put it lightly. But during a conference call last week, the oil minister of OPEC, Saudi Arabia, warned fellow producers prices could drop to $50 a barrel if they don't comply and agreed production cuts, according to OPEC delegates who attended the call. Well, it doesn't seem to be the case just yet, but we're approaching that lower bound that we've been at on $70. We're just above it right now. We'll see how the tensions rise or fall, hopefully, in the Middle East. You jump over to gold. That's a weekly, quite a run. We go back to a short-term time frame on a 15-minute. So what did you have? You have gold spiking yesterday. You have crude spiking yesterday, right? We saw yield spiking yesterday to the downside, as in people selling the market, right? You buy fixed income. That spikes the price. That brings back the yield. But look at the yield, man. We are back below where you were yesterday. We're at 114.10. We had a 115 handle at the highs of yesterday. And you're talking about a yield right now on that 10-year of, what are we at? 3.8% on the dot. 3.8%. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. Let's kick it off with jobs. Private payrolls ahead of the non-farm payroll report out Friday. 143,000 in September is what ADP comes out. 128 was the forecast, so you beat that number. Job gains fairly widespread. Leisure and hospitality led the way at 34,000. Construction up there at 26,000. Education and health services rounding it out at 24,000, but 140,000, not bad. Hiring increased. The rate of pay growth, yeah, it's not surprising. Took another step down, but it's going to take many steps down, man. The 12-month gain for those staying in their jobs, lower to 4.7. You change jobs, 6.6. Pretty remarkable. Now, both of those numbers are down, right? But you can see why people who are a little bit worried about inflationary factors, there are lags, even on the inflation front, right? Times are tough at the grocery store, right? Rent is higher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, for the price rent. But guess what? Prices are not rising 4.7% right now. They are not. So if you got a raise in the last 12 months, you are ahead of inflation. You change jobs, you're almost pushing 7%. Okay? You can make the case probably inflation maybe is at 2.5%, 3.5%. Maybe you can make the case. I don't think you'd be right. The inflation's at 4%. But you're probably somewhere in that 2 to 3% range right now. Difficult to assess in terms of the lag factors, as Chairman Powell will tell you. But still some pretty stark numbers, right? I mean, think about it, folks. It's about to be 2025. People have been getting raises for years now, okay? This started in 2022. You're at least talking about 2 to 3 years where this number, okay, staying in the same job has even been at 5%. So there's some decent raises out there. Job gains widespread, as we talked about, in terms of where they are. Professional and business at 20,000 and other services at 17. Information services, the only one that was down at 10,000. And yeah. So we get non-farm payrolls on Friday. We'll see where we go. It's going to be an important one, but wages in there, jobs in there. The economy continuing to deliver above expectations as we come in at 143, and the number they were looking for was 128. All right, let's talk about a couple of the equities moving this morning. So we got Nike, withdraws guidance and postpones Investor Day as it gears up for their CEO change, but it's a tough one, man. Check out this start. Last night, out with their numbers, and I don't know why you got a spike there initially. The algorithm saw something initially, but nonetheless, short-lived. You trade down to 81.30 last night. The conference call begins, and we're basically right near that level right now. Nike, you're going to open down almost $7 at 82.80. You take a longer-term chart of Nike shares. The low out here from earlier this year is 70. The low back here in 2022 is 82.22, which is basically right where we're going to open at. That's a weekly. You back it up even further than that. So we're going to open right now at $82, and you can see that's kind of this consolidation area that you were in from late 2018 to that spike COVID low. You were back there by April at about $80 is where you opened April of 2020. We're going to go on five years since COVID, folks, coming up in March. 5 years from COVID. Do you remember when it was hitting? It's like yesterday. 5 years. Tommy's going to be 4 in February. Tommy's going to be 4 in February. Remember when Tommy was born? I do. Doesn't seem like 4 years ago. 4 in February. Love that guy. All right, folks, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk some Stellantis when we come back. Stellantis, they're flat this morning. They're actually a little bit higher, but that's because this company has low expectations, and they come out with some pretty stark numbers. We'll talk some car companies. We'll talk some equities. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets in negative territory. All the markets barely in the red right now. You get the S&Ps off by 11 points. We jump over to the dollar index before we jump around. DXY catching a little bit of a bid here as we get a little bit of higher yield. Look at the strength, 101.46. And it is intriguing when you take a look at this thing. You go back even for the weekly. And Al, I'm getting, it's nothing too dramatic, but I'm hearing some static back to me. I'm not sure if you have something open or if it is me. It's all right. I can keep going, but definitely a little bit of background. Hopefully that's not coming through for everybody else. Nonetheless, we got the dollar right now. Critical. Nope, that just might have made it worse, Al, whatever's going on. DXY, 101.44 right now, a little bit of strength. And yeah, so let's talk some cars. STLA, Stellantis. So the only reason they're not tanking right now at 1381 is because they already tanked last week, and it's been quite a run. You take a look at this equity, and we'll go over it, but yeah, you talk about it, man. From 29.51 in March, and you're trading right now at 13.71. So how about a decline? These percentages are bonkers, man. 19.8% from the third quarter a year ago, and an 11.5% decrease from the prior 3 months of this year. That's what just happened, okay? U.S. sales Tuesday, 305,000 from July through September, almost a 20% decline year over year, and almost a 12% decline quarter over quarter. And the only reason it's not tanking is because the market thought they were going to drop 21%. Yeah, pretty remarkable. Yeah, and I don't know if something changed there at the breakout, but I'm just hearing a lot of hissing coming through like it's a bad connection. I don't know. Okay. That's going to be unfortunate if it's going to go for the next 40 minutes because I can hear a lot in there. Yeah, if you could take a look at it and pull up the streams, Al, and make sure this is not coming through. I'm just hearing like it's really bad quality audio coming through from me, and if this is what my voice is over, it's just going to be not worth it. So they were looking for a 21% decline. Yeah, this was not happening in previous breaks. I'm not sure this would happen, but I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Yeah, I can't stop it on my end either. Okay, we'll see if we can go forward. Thanks for the feedback, Dan. I appreciate it. At least you guys aren't. Then I guess we'll fight through it. That's perfect. All right. So we talked Stellantis. Yeah, be careful of this one, man. You talk about it. So you got Stellantis down 19%, 19.8. They were looking for 21. Now, industry-wide, you're only down 2%, okay? They cut their profit margin dramatically. That was the haircut that we had going on back here on September 27th, right? And you jump down to what's going on here. It's not stopping, as in, boy, they got some real problems, man. They peaked in 2018 at 2.2 million vehicles. Last year, more than 1.5, okay? They were down 1% from 2022. They had a 13% drop from 2021. Now they got a 19% drop from 2023 to 2024. Yeah. And meanwhile, okay, the overall U.S. new light-duty vehicle sales market increased 13% last year. 13%. Wild stuff, man. Now you jump over to Tesla. As their news just hits, they're trading a little bit lower on missing their expectations. Their deliveries, 462,890 during the third quarter. It's quite a number. They're almost pumping out 500,000 vehicles every 3 months. The market was looking for a little bit more. It seems like 463, 310. I mean, it's only what? 400. Is that real? It's 420. Did they really? Yeah, 110. How many cars did they miss deliveries by? How many cars? Somebody tell Elon. How many cars? 420. How many cars did Tesla miss their deliveries by? 420. You can't make this stuff up, man. All right, I'm not sure if there might be a mic open in the studio or something, Al, because I was hearing something in there, man. If there's another feed somehow going into my ear or something like that, another computer, do you have Skype 2 open? Do you have Skype 3 open? Please check those. Tesla, they miss expected deliveries by 420 cars, but nonetheless, you'll see they're trading down today. In a year ago period, they delivered 435, so they come in at 462,000 deliveries. All right, and that's the biggest number that people really watch on this equity, deliveries, if in terms of cars. Okay, of course we're talking about what, the robotaxi event a week from tomorrow. We talked about being careful of that one. They don't have any guidance for 2024 deliveries. Executives have said they expect a lower delivery growth rate this year versus last year, despite the new Cybertruck. Now, I don't know exactly what that rate is percentage-wise, but that rate is from 435 to 463. They're going to grow slower than that. Yeah, slower than that, okay? Things are slowing down dramatically. And what I found interesting, all right, it's a perfect segue. So I was scrolling the internet the other day, and I saw Reed Hastings catching a lot of flack for endorsing Kamala, I guess. I didn't even see it, and giving her money. The only thing I saw was the reaction. With headlines from Fox and the likes, of course. Netflix saw the highest day of cancellations this year after the co-founder's $70 million donation to the Harris campaign. I find it laughable that, and it doesn't stop, right? I mean, they go over and over. Users say no to Netflix after the co-founder endorses Harris. All right, you go over to the Post. Netflix cancellations nearly tripled after co-founder Reed Hastings endorsed Kamala Harris. You go over to Yahoo. Netflix cancellations triple, right? I mean, they're all the same deal in terms of what they're talking about there, okay? In July, a 2.8% rate of cancellations, which is the churn, okay? Highest rate since February for the streaming giant, which has the lowest rate of churn in the industry. What I find remarkable is that Elon escapes all of this, okay? And it's his right. But do not think, and this is real, okay? I'm sure that's real. I'm sure a few people, politics are so divisive right now, right? They see it out there. A few people who are big-time Trump supporters, they go out and they cancel their Netflix subscription, right? Don't think the same thing isn't happening at monumental portions for Tesla, folks. Do not think it's not happening in the EV market for Tesla at this price point. You're trading right now at 247. You take a look at the short-term time frame. There's your drop-off on that announcement to 245. This company valued, I think we're at 850 billion yesterday. We're at 789. Okay. Yeah, and you're down a little bit from where you were yesterday. So that could have been, you were trading at 263. You got 3 billion shares. You're down $33 billion from where you were this morning. Yeah, you can't have it all. You know, it doesn't mean he can do whatever he's making choices. But just be aware, man. You see those articles on Reed Hastings that say, "Where Elon? Where's the Tesla articles, folks?" Just to make people aware of what's happening. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back with the opening bell. We still got a lot to talk about. Don't go away.
The consistency you're looking for is closer than you think. 1 or 2 adjustments are usually all you need to change your equity curve from red to green and keep it there. Come join Larry Pesavento live to learn what separates the winners from the losers. Join Larry Pesavento on the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, where Larry will show you the market setting up and, most important of all, the state of mind of a winning trader. By watching Larry trade, you'll learn the Fibonacci levels, you'll learn how to apply A to B to C to D trading patterns, you'll learn trade management, pattern recognition, and much more. Join Larry October 11th and 25th for more live trading action. Your purchase goes towards 2 sessions, so make sure to sign up now so you don't miss a chance to sit next to Larry as he trades the market live. For all information and to reserve your spot today, go to the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open. You got an S&P negative by 14 points right now, trading at 57.46, right near the lows of yesterday afternoon. You got all the markets slightly in the red right now. And how about Asia, right? How about China, man? Yeah, we got Shanghai up 8%, Hang Seng up 6% right now, the Nikkei down 2%. But boy, let me pull that article up. Excuse me for jumping around. I was just watching. There we go. China's stocks soar more than 7% in Hong Kong on stimulus bets. Yeah, optimism over the new stimulus measures. So you got everything trading higher yet again. And I just went over Hang Seng up as much as 8.5% before closing about 7.1% higher. Property developers led the rally with the gauge of the sector surging as much as 47%. Brokerage shares up 35%. Record intraday moves. Can you imagine that if we had property developers up 47% and brokerage shares up 35% in a day? But yeah, the usual suspects, man. Pinduoduo, Alibaba, they're all trading higher, obviously. Brokerages, which are seen as a barometer of risk sentiment, powered ahead amid optimism that they will be among the key beneficiaries of the stock trading frenzy. Look at China Merchant Securities up 81%. I don't know these. Up 40%. Man. Hedge funds are piling in. Well, yeah, look at the run that we've had in some of these, man. You jump over to Alibaba. So that's today. You're up by 2%. You were up to 119. We're back to 115 just like that. But take a look at the daily, man. This thing is up from $70 in July, right? You're talking about 70 to 115 in 3 months. Remarkable. You jump over to Pinduoduo. PDD is their symbol, up another 5% today from $88 almost a month ago to $152. You get it all back from that move. Remarkable moves going over there. You want some volatility, man? How about China? Coming at you. All right, what else we got going on? Yeah, the passing of Pete Rose. So, I was just getting into the Pete Rose documentary. And where is that on? Where am I watching it? On HBO. Charlie Hustle and the Matter of Pete Rose. Interesting. If you're looking to check something out, you like some documentaries, check that one out. It's an interesting one. I was just watching it. What I will say is that in the age of gambling, it's remarkable that he's not in the hall yet. I mean, what he did as part of baseball is just remarkable. That hit total, okay? 4,256. So I was looking this up. I was like, man, what? Now, he played 23 seasons, I think. Let's see, 17 All-Star appearances. I think he played 23 seasons. He hit 303. But the gambling deal is what's crazy, okay? Yes, he bet on his own teams. Shouldn't be doing that, for sure. Because what they talk about in the documentary was he was the manager. He was betting on the games for his own team. But imagine you have a relieving pitcher, and I don't know if he did this, okay? But this is the problem with betting on it, because people can say, well, he just bet on his own team. It's not like, but when you're the manager on top of it, right? Imagine you got a reliever, or you got somebody in the bullpen that you want to save for tomorrow night's game, right? But guess what? You got $5,000 on tonight's game, and he might be needed. It's going to influence your factors, okay? But nonetheless, he never bet against his team, okay? It's not like one of those scenarios. And in the age of gambling where it is today, to have somebody of this accord not be in the hall while he is alive is a bummer, to put it lightly. And, yeah, so Shohei, I think he's got around 200 hits this year. I mean, he's having the most legendary season ever, right? Yeah, so 197. How many has he got? I think he has 197 hits. So ballpark, Shohei Ohtani hit about 200 hits this year. So you'd have to have 21 straight seasons of 200 hits, and you still wouldn't reach Pete Rose, right? And that's what Shohei just did. I mean, remarkable, man. On top of that, 303 for a lifetime average. I mean, these days you got guys hitting 240, 250, and it seems like they're getting contracts. Hey, they deserve it when baseball's making the money they are, but just bonkers. But yeah, check out that documentary if you're into it. And I was just checking it out. Just started watching that in the last few weeks. And, yeah, they kept him out, and now they'll probably put him in. And I don't, everything becomes an ego trip at a certain degree. But it is remarkable how much money they make off of gambling in light of, how that all goes down. All right, what else have we got talking about here? We talked about crude. I mean, these are the headlines, right? Israel vows retaliation for massive Iranian attack. Iran made a big mistake and pays, says Netanyahu. The U.S. is there to support him, as they should be, man. Yeah, you had U.S. warships out there shooting down some of the projectiles as well. Yeah, and more dangerous than when you had the drone attacks in April. Okay, this time you got less warning, and their rockets penetrated far deeper into Israel territory with cities including Tel Aviv and others being hit and having their nighttime skies light up. So not good, man. And that's the headline yesterday, and we'll see if it reverberates today. This one's from the Journal. I was reading this morning. This was out last night. You know, in light of, you look at, these are the two stories back to back, okay? This one from the Journal last night at 7 o'clock, and this one from the Journal last night at 9 o'clock. And they're correlated, folks. All right, living in Florida. Now, thankfully, I'm in Lakeland. Lakeland's fine. Our office is in downtown St. Pete. That's fine. The beaches, Madeira Beach, St. Pete Beach, man, I'm sure you've seen some of the visuals, just demolished. And I find myself saying, I can't imagine with the consistency that these storms are now coming about, and just the storm surges and those, especially in the evacuation A zones, the flood zones, right? Those areas, I can't imagine having a home there and purchasing a home there. Can't imagine it. Why don't you just go a block out, right? That's the thing. Why don't you just go a block out, get yourself 15 feet of elevation, something like that. I know it's not always possible. It's one thing if you have a second home, a vacation home, if you have the means and the ability to just afford a second home that might be in a hurricane path, in a flood zone, it gets wiped out. You can go through the actions and you have the means, again, to rebuild. But outside of that, now listen, there's a lot of people that are, not in that direct coastal area that's known to flood, okay? There are people who have been in their home for 30 years and just got hit with this flood. So there's things happen. But you look at an area like Asheville, my goodness, right? I mean, just look at this one shot. I mean, that looks like New Orleans and Katrina, right? Just completely demolished. And they have quite a rebuilding. Madeira Beach down here, St. Pete Beach, Clearwater Beach. Just massive, massive scales of rebuilding are going to take place. And what they talk about here is, okay, people opting against flood insurance, even though they got a quote for $6,000 a year, figuring worst case scenario would be an annoyance of replacing drywall from a few feet of water. Not the case. Things are much more dire than that. You want to try and plan for some tail risks. Okay, I say this often. If a probability is greater than 0 of occurring, you should give it a little bit of thought. Doesn't mean you need to live your life in fear of it, right? But you'd be surprised when you run scenarios over and over repetitively how many times a 1% probability, a 2% probability, a 3% probability ends up occurring. You own your home for 30 years, okay, and you got a 4% chance of a flood on any given year. It's almost a guarantee it's going to happen by the time you own that over 30 years. We'll talk about this, and we're going to jump to insurance costs on the back end of that, and we'll talk some other equities as well. Stay tuned, folks. We'll talk some crude as well. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds for both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We've got another little leg down in this market. We're below the lows of yesterday in the S&Ps right now. We're trading at 57.29. You're talking about 80 points from where we were yesterday when I was doing this show at that time, when the news started to break about the ballistic missiles that Iran was going to send into Israel. We break lower yet again. We're negative by about 0.6% in the S&Ps. NASDAQ 100, not quite at the lows. Oh, that was not good, Al. I'm getting feedback on myself now. Okay. Whew. Thank you. The Dow is off 140 right now, off 0.3%, and you got the Russell off by 16 right now. And yes, that is good. I can't hear the hiss anymore, Al. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Bitcoin down $1,200 at 60,785. You got crude up $2.33, pushing the high of 72.49. And yeah, we got to talk about that strike. So check out the union boss, man. This is quite a trip, and 78 years old, all right? He's been there forever, practically. He might have mob ties, and he's digging in, and it's going to matter, man. 78-year-old chief of the International Longshoremen's Association. He's been the head since 2011. It's his 4th term as president. He's leading the union. Into that, he was part of the strike when they did it in 1977. He was out there in California raising hell, and yeah, they are important, man. And, you know, the devil's always in the details. The truth always lies somewhere in between, folks. It's always the nuance that matters. And unions can hold a lot of good, okay? At a time when corporate profits, at a time when the middle class, right, all that stuff. I mean, I come from South Boston, man. Good old Boston, all right? I mean, my mom worked for Verizon. The only reason my mom is retired, able to take care of Tommy hanging out right now, is she worked for a union. There's a lot of good that unions can do, all right, from middle-class families, middle-class incomes, but it goes both ways, of course, okay? That's why the truth always lies somewhere in between. That's usually the case, not always, but usually the case. Last year, dock workers, how about almost $600 billion in imports is what they unloaded? 60% of containerized trade moves through the East Coast and Gulf Coast ports, where those dock workers unloaded themselves almost $600 billion of imports. Now, I was trying to find, if anybody's got a great article or they found out, if they know, I want to see what their last contract is, okay? Because this number that we keep getting touted, okay, now you hear that the workers want 70% pay increase, okay? He's gunning for a 77% pay increase. I've seen 70%. The employers offered 40%. They've now come back and offered 50%. That's over the next 6 years, okay? Now, we just saw private payrolls just came out today, okay? Private payrolls, if you're staying in the same job, are up almost 5% year over year. You multiply that times 6 and you're at 30%, okay? So these are not mammoth numbers if you're playing catch up at all for the last 4 years. So I'm interested into what's been happening. What kind of pay raises have they received since 2018, since 2015? If anybody has any feedback on that or you have any information, please let me know, because that's an important part of this conversation, because this number goes out 6 years from where we are. So 50%, they're saying it's not enough. We'll see if they go. Now, what's interesting is, okay, I'm reading through this article this morning, okay, and he talks about there in 1977, okay, about his own part in the strike when he traveled to the West Coast, diverted ships from being unloaded there. He's warned that if the Biden administration invokes a federal law to force workers to back the docks, his workers will deliberately slow operations. In today's world, I'll cripple you. That's where things go bad. Okay, that's illegal, straight up. Okay, and that's where unions get a bad rep, right? They used to, when the mob controlled them. Oh yeah, you didn't make a deal, man? They'd bomb your factory, right? Things go left and right, and that's what it sounded like. So I'm reading through this article, right? Watch this, right? I said, oh man, okay, so here we go, because the other side of that is unions are great, but you can't cripple the whole economy if somehow the union quits, right? There have to be middle grounds that go on through, okay? There's extenuating special circumstances in certain situations, right? Controlling every port that products come into our country for, that's a special situation that you might want to make sure that there is some control, okay? And so where this really gets interesting, all right, he's a native of Queens, right? He served in the Navy in Vietnam, and then he went to the docks in 67, all right? Rose through the ranks to in 1998, president of the mechanical local at Port Newark, okay? Now, in 2005, okay, he's been previously accused of mob ties. So that's where I go, oh, wait a second. Maybe he is real that they're going to cripple the ports if they tell him, if Biden says you can't strike. In 2005, check this out. He stood trial in Brooklyn. Of course he stood trial in Brooklyn, New York, right? He's the union chief on wire and mail fraud charges alongside another ILA official and an alleged mobster accused of steering union benefits contracts to firms that paid kickbacks to organized crime. So it's like the truth is somewhere in between, right? There's a lot of probably real statements that he's making out there that they deserve more pay. And then the employers say this guy's a mob henchman paying kickbacks to organized crime, right? The truth is probably somewhere in between, but they both have legs, man. So witnesses at this 2005 trial testified that he was elevated through the ILA but the mob because he's associate of the Genovese crime family. And this gentleman, Daggett, recounted in testimony that no. I've gone out of my way to avoid these crime families. Yeah, why? Because he was held at gunpoint by a mobster, of course, right? You can't make that up, man. The 3 defendants were acquitted, okay? The defendant alleged to be a Genovese crime family member went missing during the trial and later found dead in the trunk of a car. This is how unions go. Can you believe that? I can't believe this is not more well known, and it's going to become more well known. All right, this guy stood trial with a gentleman who was alleged to be a Genovese crime family member. They were acquitted. He was accused of taking all that money and kicking it back to the mob and being a front man for the mob. And then the guy that was supposedly the mobster ends up dead in the trunk of a car after that, after he disappeared during the trial. Went missing during the trial, shows up dead in the trunk of a car, a New York mob/union trial, right? Pretty remarkable. And then you look at the pay, and listen, this one, you're leading 45,000 workers. Okay, it's not outlandish, but again, it gets to it. He's making $730,000 as the head of the ILA. He's getting another $173,000 as president emeritus of the mechanics local chapter of the Port Newark, which is where he began. And then he's got his son Dennis with senior roles in both groups, paid a total of more than $700,000. So between father and son, they're taking $1.6 million a year right now. Right? That's where things, But I bring it up because does that sound like somebody who's going to cave quickly? No, does not. Whether that's right or not, that's up for you to decide. But yeah, mobsters showing up dead in trunks and he's been in there since the last strike in 77, and he wants to cement his legacy. So look for a little bit of pushback on that port strike. We'll see if it carries through. One more segment, folks. S&P's, a little bit of a bounce. We'll be right back.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got a little bit of volatility. There's a chart of the Dow on a 5-minute basis. You drive lower on the open by about 200 points, and you get it all back, and we get the Dow into positive territory. There's your S&Ps. We drive down to a low of 57.24, and we're 20 points higher at 57.44 right now. We jump over to yields. You jump over to the 10-year. We got lower price, higher yields coming at you right now. We're talking about a 10-year yield. I think we're just above 3.8 right now. Where are we? 3.81. 3.81. The yield on the 10-year right now. We jump over the dollar. So as yields are rising, what's happening? We're getting dollar strength. We hit 101.56. That's not going to help gold, but gold holding up relatively well as we got dollar strength in gold. A little bit of a safe haven in light of what's going on in the Middle East. 26.80 in the price of that gold contract, and we check in on crude right now. Crude trading up $2.20 at 72.02. A couple points I wanted to touch on before the end of the program. Talking about oil's war premium is back. One thing they talked about in this article from Bloomberg, it's just one estimate, okay, but just to put on your table a little bit of what could happen here. Oil could climb as much as $7 a barrel if the U.S. and its allies place sanctions on Iran, or by $13 should Israel strike Iranian energy infrastructure. Those two are totally in play with what happened, Okay, so we're sitting at $70, all things considered. We got the Saudis threatening $50 a barrel if OPEC Plus, if the curbs and the cuts aren't followed. But I would follow these numbers, man, because we got some real action going on in the Middle East, not of the good kind right now. And square those two conversations, right? $50 oil. Meanwhile, we got Iran and Israel going back and forth, and you see a risk to the potential rise there. All right, and talking about those hurricanes, so we're talking about, this was talking about Asheville, right, and the destruction going on there, and then we're talking about insurance premiums, was this article over here. The luxury homes come with an ocean view, and just interesting, it's not surprising, folks, was kind of the thing, and I know it's common sense, but right at the beginning of this article, right, they talk about Santa Clarita, California, $1.25 million home, and they're worried about $7,000 a year extra insurance. Folks, that's not a lot of insurance if you buy the coast. That's 178 years of insurance to equal $1.25 million. Remarkable. Folks, I wish I had more time, but we'll be back tomorrow. Stay tuned. You got Basil Chapman coming up.